just touch on some of the points that I spoke about on the show today. Employer branding and recruitment marketing. In today's world, we live in a media era. And what that means is that you have to sell yourself regardless. You have to sell yourself as a person, your personal brand. You keep hearing Gary Vaynerchuk talk about this all the time. Or also Grant Cardone about the importance behind knowing how to sell yourself and how to do business in a smart way, right? And human resources is no stranger to this. The biggest challenges that the human resources departments are facing today, at least some of the biggest ones, can be really solved with marketing and communications. The problem is that HR people studied psychology, they studied HR, they studied to be behind a desk and maybe in front of someone when they're interviewing them, but that's pretty much it. And they don't understand how to become marketing people. And in today's world, for your company's HR department to succeed, they need to understand marketing and communications. They're going to need to understand how to communicate the employer brand internally and externally, how to utilize what the audience is already telling you, and also they're going to need to know how to market that employer brand and how to market themselves and reach out to the audience through social media for recruitment. So things that I keep saying, recruiters, I wrote an article on LinkedIn that was very popular, got thousands of views. It was called The 5 Mistakes That Recruiters Are Doing on social media, on LinkedIn. And some things have changed a little bit, right? Because the profiles and where things are at right now changed on LinkedIn, but the basics are there. I keep seeing recruiters who have a profile and in corporate America that they have a profile there, but they're not answering messages. I get it. You get a lot of messages if you're in certain companies, but they're also not putting any content out there except when they actually need to find someone for a particular job. And then when they post those, they don't have the right hashtags or no hashtags at all. They don't have a picture. Your company needs to be throwing out content, and not just on LinkedIn. Hello, because LinkedIn is no longer a recruiting tool. You can use it as a recruiting tool, but it's a networking platform. So the main problem here is that the recruiters and not just the recruiters, the companies themselves, they don't have a content strategy. First of all, for HR, for employer brand, their employer brand is whatever. I mean, they say, hey, we're the best, we're cool, we're young, we're flexible. What are those words? Those words don't mean anything. Like Sylvia was saying today, I mean, those are generic things. I'm not saying crap. I'm sorry to say the word, to be so sincere, but the problem is that you're really not communicating anything. First of all, you already have an employer brand, whether you've worked on it or not. And that employer brand is what your employees perceive that your brand is, and what your employees perceive that it is to work in your brand. And if you think that, well, I don't need an employer brand really, I mean, we're okay, it's fine. Let me tell you something. An employee can destroy your entire business. Your employees are right now, a lot of them are micro influencers, not just because they are talking to their network, their social network, their family, friends, and they can stop consuming or start consuming your products and services because of that. But also because they are on social media, and whether you like it or not, and whether your policies say yes you can or no you can't, they are talking about you on social media. They are not always going to have their real names. They're not always going to be scared. And many times, an employee can really damage a company or help it. How do you identify the perfect brand ambassadors, those micro influencers that you already have within your company, to utilize them so that your company goals, sorry, I need water, so that your company goals are transmitted out there. You need to, as a company, you need to focus on your employer brand, for not just because you're going to get the best talent in a very tough market. By the way, if you don't know why you're getting that turnover on employees, this is one of the reasons. You're not just going to get a better talent and a more suitable talent for your company. You're also going to probably increase your business, because again, your employees can become those brand ambassadors. Companies keep spending thousands of dollars. Oh, I hear this all the time, HR directors. Oh, well, because I just made my company pay all this much so that we can have this LinkedIn and all this and this other platform to recruit and this other one. And so we can have all this ads for those job postings. Let me tell you, 80% of that investment should have never happened. Doesn't need to happen. If you know how to utilize the tools that you have within, if you can convert those recruiters into social media and marketing experts, and I can help you do that. Standout can help you do that. You won't need to spend all that money because you have the tools within you. The problem is that companies don't know. So because they don't know, or the people making the decisions don't understand, they're going to end up spending more money on tools that are not as effective. So what I'm telling you right now is that if you are watching this and you have a marketing or communications problem within your HR team, or you have a recruitment problem, you're not being able to target the right audience, you're not being able to hire the people that are going to stay with you for more than a couple years, okay, then let's talk, because there is a way for you to help create that employer brand that you need. Work on having the people that are good with you right now, keep them there, and then attract the right talent, so that as some go away, you get the right people in. And you're going to be able to do that without having to spend on ads in general. You may not have to spend one single cent. You may have to spend a little. I don't know. Depends on the industry. I mean, I'm not going to lie. There's industries that are particularly tough, and sometimes you have to add a little bit of money, but not the thousands of dollars that some of you are spending. That's for sure. And in many cases, I would say more than 50% of the cases, you won't need to spend a single dime on advertising your job postings. So just contact us. We're ready to help. Again, we were talking about this on Haciendo Negocios, the show, and I think it's very, very important that everyone understands how this works.